Hey guys, it's time for the April forecast. I'll show you guys the CFS model week by week, and then I'll show you a couple maps I made about what I think will happen. So starting here off with the CFS model, this is a seasonal model, looking week by week. The top map is for April 3rd to the 9th, and the bottom map is the 10th through the 16th. Now, in the top map here, notice how we have a lot of blue across the eastern half of the country. That's because below normal temperatures are expected, because we have that big trough is still lingering over much of the country right now. As of April 3rd, when I'm making this video, that's bringing the below normal temperatures. Now next week, the week of April 8th, I do expect a lot of above normal temperatures to start building in for the eastern half of the country. That's why the bottom map here is it looks a lot more. We have more reds for the Great Lakes region and New England, but the southern half of the U.S. could still end up being a little below normal. That's why we have some blues in there still. But especially here across the Pacific Northwest, mid-April is looking very warm for that area. And then looking into the second half of April, both maps showing a lot of red for much of the country. So above normal temperatures are expected to be widespread for the second half of April. Now there could still be a few days here and there that are below normal, but for the most part, the second half of April is looking very warm in terms of temperature anomalies. Now looking at the precip anomalies, green is above normal, orange and yellow is below normal. So over the next couple weeks, the northern half of the country should start to dry out by mid-month, while the southern half stays more wet. That's still very indicative of an El Nino type of pattern, even though the El Nino is weakening at the moment. As we go into the second half of April, the eastern half of the country should be below normal to near average, while the west stays a little above normal to near average. And then I want to show you guys the NAO forecast, which is the North Atlantic Oscillation Index right here. It goes positive and negative. That's what the line here is showing. So here the zero line is right there. And then anything above that's positive and anything below is negative. So we are right here at the moment, and notice how we are way into the negative and -2 right now over here. So basically what this means is when you're in a negative phase, like how we are right now, that means we have a ridge over Greenland, and that helps push a lot of cold air into the eastern half of the United States and also eastern Canada. That's why we have that big trough over the eastern U.S. right now, because of that type of weather pattern we're in. That's what it's called, a negative NAO. And you can see the last time we were this negative was all the way back here into mid-January. Now, if you remember that's when we had that very cold week across much of the country. That's because we had a negative NAO index. Other than that, you can see much of the winter going back to December was we were in the positive phase a lot. That's why we had such a warm winter, because the NAO was in a positive phase. Then that means it's the opposite. We have a trough over Greenland, and that allows a lot of warm air to surge into the eastern half of the country. So, and then going back to right now, we are here. And all these red lines are the forecast over the next couple of weeks. So you can see that by mid-April, we should be back into the positive phase, which means also that tells me that by the middle of the month, much of the eastern half of the country should be much more seasonable and maybe even back to above normal temperatures. And so with that being said, let's go to my maps that I made, my basic maps. So here we have the temperature anomalies. My April forecast temperature anomalies, anywhere in yellow, red is where I expect above normal temperatures this month, and anywhere in blue is where I expect temperatures to average out to be below normal. This is when the month is over and you average out all the temperatures. Especially when you get to the far northern tier of the country, that's the red color here. I have more confidence in this area being above normal in terms of temperature. And then this very dark red color here across portions of northern Quebec, Ontario, Canada. That's where I have the most confidence that I think it'll be far above average in terms of temperature this month there. But then portions of the southwestern United States, the desert southwest, portions of Arizona, New Mexico, West Texas, into northwestern Mexico. I think temperatures will average out to be a little bit below normal in this area here because there'll be a lot of troughs digging down into this region over the next few weeks. And then looking over at the precipitation anomaly I made, I have anywhere in green is where I think there'll be above normal precip or rainfall. Anywhere in orange where I think there'd be less. So that basically I expect the entire eastern half of the country to be above normal in rainfall this month. And then the darker greens are where I have more confidence. That includes much of the Ohio Valley going into the mid-Atlantic. That's because much of this area the past few days already got a couple inches of rain. So many areas here across the Ohio Valley are already near or above their entire April's forecast average of rainfall. That's why I have this area in dark green. But that also includes much of the mid-Mississippi Valley, lower Mississippi Valley. I think there'll be a lot of rainfall in this area too this month. And I have very high confidence in portions of Arkansas and Louisiana. That's why I have this very dark green area here. I think this area might be way above normal in terms of rainfall this month. And then also portions of the southwest I think will be a little bit above normal in terms of rainfall and precip. And also portions of the northern Rockies here in Idaho, Montana. I think they'll end up being above normal in precip this month. Now, on the opposite side, I think portions of the Pacific Northwest down into Northern California, I think they'll end up being below normal in rainfall and precip this month. And also for interior and northern portions of Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Canada, I think they'll end up being below normal in terms of precip this month, which isn't good news because this area up here hasn't gotten a lot of snow this winter and it was very mild. And if you put that on top of a warm April expected and dry April expected, I'm worried about the wildfire season that could happen next month and into the summertime. That's exactly what happened last winter and last spring. That's where we had such big wildfires across portions of Quebec and Ontario. And that's why we had so much smoke getting filtered down into the northern portions of the United States last summer. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But just letting you guys know. Other than that, I'll write everything into my video description about everything I just said, summarizing it all. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a good day. I'll see you next time.